My name is Sylvain Lafont. I'm the CEO of Vokeso, and this video is an overview of our implementation methodology. First, it is obviously confidential, so please do not share this outside your selection committee. So, over time, there aren't hundreds of different ways to implement an ERP system, but we've been able to fine-tune a methodology originally inspired from SureStep and my experience as an ERP consultant over the years. So obviously, first thing we're going to do is build a team. Um, we'll assign someone to to a steering committee, so an executive on your side who has the ability to sponsor the project, make difficult decisions, um, because we without leadership, you're not going to succeed. And our project manager typically is involved, but we could have an account manager also participate in the steering committee. We'll have a project manager supporting your project, uh, working with yours, collaborating with your project manager in identifying activities, following up on activities, deliverables, tracking the budget, making sure we succeed in your implementation. You will name super users. You'll identify various super users, maybe one per department, maybe two for a given department, or perhaps in smaller implementations, a super user may have various departments to cover. But we need some people here who are comfortable with computers, with systems, but also understand the business, the requirements, and are able to support your team after implementation. So these are key people that will be assigned to the project and will allow us to transfer knowledge to you during the implementation. We will provide a solutions architect. His job is going to be defining or refining your processes, designing your solution, determining what modules, features, add-ons perhaps will be used and leveraged in your implementation, and the delivery or the result of his work is going to be a design that the integrators will implement going forward with your super users. So we'll see it in the next slide, but after the architecture is completed, it's configuration, testing, training, and the work of preparing Business Central and your team for the implementation. And that's done by our application specialists. And finally, we have developers. If they are needed, we'll bring them on board during the implementation if you have integrations, customizations, or technical challenges to face. Here's an overview of the methodology. Um, we are currently in the pre-sales phase, the diagnostic phase. Eventually, we're going to have a demo following this video, and perhaps a proposal will be presented to you. And if you agree to work with us, ultimately at the end of the phase, we'll have a transfer from sales to the functional or the deployment team. And then there's going to be planning, project management planning, culminating with a global kickoff with your team so that everybody's aware of who is doing what the plan is, what the scope is, how we're going to communicate. Then the architect comes in and reviews your requirements through interviews and seeing how you work today and talking to your people. If gaps are identified, they will be documented. There will be a functional architecture. That's the main deliverable of this step. The next slide will show you what it might look like. But essentially, it's a business process mapping in Business Central, describing exactly how you're going to leverage the system. Following that, it's configuration and validation, as well as development in parallel, perhaps, um, as we identify technical work. And so this is the build phase, and it's going to be essentially producing the model that was created in the conceive phase. After that, we're preparing for development. The key activity here is pilot testing conducted by your super users with our support. Essentially, when we do testing in the um, configuration phase, it tends to be module testing. We typically validate transactions within modules. When we do the pilot integrated testing, we test processes from start to finish. And so we'll be going through order to cash, plan to produce, and so on. If we're satisfied with the results of that testing, then we'll prepare go live. After that, it's operation, and you're transferred to our support group, our support team, who will be handling your requirements going forward, unless you eventually come up with another significant project, in which case we would go back to a project mode and apply this methodology for that as well. And finally, the application architecture that will be produced by the solutions architect would look somewhat like this. So all of your processes would be mapped and identified. Um, so what inputs, outputs, add-ons, customizations, functions we're going to be using. There's going to be a section for product pricing. Um, if you manufacture or distribute, this is something that will be established. What is the product costing strategy? We'll also identify your dimensions, your financial slice and dice values for reporting purposes, and eventually we'll also finally define some of the reporting strategy. What tools are we going to be using, and how we're going to generate reports? Is it going to be leveraging Power BI, Cosmos, internal reports in BC, configurable financial reports in BC, and so on? So this is a quick overview of the methodology. We can discuss this further if you wish, but hopefully it gives you a bit of insight as to what would happen if we work together. Thank you.